veritable, strong, one unified coalition. On the other hand, the ruling party was also working actively with other political parties to form a strong and veritable and venerable front that will be able to consolidate their position and preach the ideas of the 10-point agenda of their principal, who happens to be President Paul Biya. During the period when many were calling for opposition parties to actually come together to see how they can form a veritable and a unified coalition, a lot of meetings were being held, and some political parties of the opposition majority came out and started having meetings to see whether they can form a unified front. There was a meeting in Fumban. We had a Fumban debacle which took place with some political parties, and discussions were on the way. When the pictures went out, several Cameroonians who wanted the opposition to form a united front celebrated the move across the social media platforms, and they appreciated. They thought that at the end of their meeting, a white smoke, which is usually a characteristic to show that a new pope has been appointed or elected, will actually come out from the opposition then. But with all the discussion, it was a thick black smoke that came out. The people still believed that a lot will be done and opposition will form a common front before the launch of campaigns in September. However, they came the Yaoundé conference. The Yaoundé conference, many prayed and hoped that the white smoke will come out. Unfortunately, division set in as a thick black smoke came out from the opposition then. On the other hand, of the other ruling party and its alliances, the white smoke was evident, as many of those who joined the alliance were of the opinion that their principal had what it takes, the mission, the vision, the tenacity, and also the vigor and the rigor to actually rule this country. Fast forward, with all of the up and down, some opposition parties came out and said they will not take part in any further discussions for a coalition and unified front, because they think that they have what it takes to win a national election, and that some said they have the number of polling agents that will be spread across the different polling units. Some also said that they are working with others to see that they can monitor, form a coalition to monitor the election, and that regardless of what come out, they believe they will have what it takes to win the election. In all of this, therefore, the elections came, and the president of the republic, Paul Biya, emerged victorious and is now in charge of the nation. What lessons have been learned or need to be learned by the political parties in Cameroon as far as the just ended October 2025 presidential election is concerned? What should the parties know? What should be done as we looked forward for a municipal and legislative election which will take place in February 2026, all things being equal? This is House of Commons with me, Tah Mai Javis. Welcome back from that transition. And if you are just joining us, you're watching House of Commons. In the studio, we are joined by Dr. Alfred Esingie, who is a political analyst and a strategist when it comes to political issues. Happy Sunday and thanks for joining us.
Happy Sunday, Mr. Javis. Happy Sunday, my fellow panelists. We are delighted to be here again today to share our minds and to let the society know of how things are going and how they should go. So I just believe that just be attentive and be open enough to understand and to learn on how to manage an after political season.
Thank you very much. And also in the studio, we are joined by a very good brother who is here with us, Mr. Azia Betrand, who is here with us for today's program. He's a member of the civil society to discuss on what lessons need to be actually learned by the different political parties, be it the ruling party, the different opposition party, as we come on prepare for the municipal and legislative election, which is to take place in February 2026. We are talking about 3 months to come. Happy Sunday, Mr. Azia, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Mr. Javis. It's a pleasure that I'm part of your program again today. Elections have come, they have gone, lessons to be drawn. We greet all the public, and we are here to contribute our own quota as far as nation building is concerned. And I think we are going to be up to the task, and the lessons that we are going to maybe bring out will be real lessons for the oppositions to actually take them into consideration. Once more, thank you.
Where's the opposition? The ruling party also does not have lessons?
I don't really feel they have lessons, because if you have been in something for many years, I think you have a better route.
But they dropped to 53%, eh?
The drop is a drop that was normal. It was a huge drop, meaning that they too have lessons, but I don't think as such, because when we look at the drop, Mr. Javis will understand why the drop came. It is as a result of natural factors.
Okay.
There's nothing that happened. It's just been natural that it needed to be like this.
Okay. In the studio, we are joined also by our father, who is Mr. Prizo of the party of Sesh Espamatomba, the People's Party. Is here with us to discuss on today's topic, where we are looking at what lessons that need to be learned by the different political parties, with his party included, as far as this election is concerned, and what must the common man do in preparation for the municipal and legislative election, which, like I did mention to you, is coming in the next 3 months, which is in February. We are already in November, is finishing. We're talking about December, January. Happy Sunday and thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much, Mr. Javis. As I always say, I'm on duty because I owe that to Cameroonians, not only to my political party, and that's the reason why I accepted to be here. I'm glad to meet my co-panelists, and I do believe that as we're here today, our discussion will be very convivial, because when you see our tires, it seems as we all have decided to come back home to identify ourselves as Cameroonian, so that we might be able to address issues equally as Cameroonians from the same land. So I greet all your televiewers, and I hope that, as I said, we'll have a good discussion.
Okay, we'll begin the program with you, Dr. Esingie. You are a political analyst and strategist. The 2025 presidential election has come and has gone. We are now preparing for other elections. Now, let me begin by asking you this question. From your view, what went wrong and what went right from the different parties?
Talking about what went wrong or right in politics, may not be the right question, because there will always be things going wrong and things going right, so that it can come to be at the right position where it ought to be. So to me, it's not a strange thing for wrong things and right things to happen in politics, because even in the British Parliament and the governance and everything, when it comes even to the United States of America and other nations of the world, we see that things don't just happen the way they want it. Sometimes there are conflicts, sometimes there are battles, and sometimes disagreements and agreements, but all the disagreements are going towards an agreement. And that's exactly what we see in Cameroon. All the disagreements that came up in Cameroon at this particular period in time is gradually coming back to an agreement, which is always normal. But we should always want to see Cameroon and understand that there are so many things that we were supposed to understand during this period of elections, which I think every political analyst should come out of emotions, come out of maybe anger, bitterness, and all those worries that we used to have, and then face exactly what actually happened and what did not happen. Now, political parties, as you just mentioned, Mr. Javis, you said political parties were hoping to have maybe a coalition so that they can face a common, opponent. And at the end of the day, there was nothing like that, even though we saw some few groups of people coming together, the civil society and so many others coming together to say they are backing up one person. But the real people who could man the political scenario or who could control the political landscape were apart. To tell you that it was something that we needed to look into critically. But again, I also want to say that politics has sets of rules that are totally different from law, from teaching, from religious studies and moral education, which a lot of people have forgotten. And I also saw journalists, professional journalists who were trained, and some of them are international, they became activists instead of journalism. Activists. You see activists everywhere, and even till now, a lot of them have remained activists, and they are still struggling to go back to journalism. That is to tell you that politics has sets of rules that are totally different from that of, law and other disciplines of life. Unfortunately, we are expecting that politics should be. We are trying to impose certain disciplines, morality into politics, which, of course, it can never happen like that. Anywhere in the world, it doesn't happen like that. And you will know, they will always tell us that politics is a game of interest. And this interest we are talking about is the interest of the stronger party. It's not about who has an interest. It's who, at the end of the day, takes the victory home. All of us have seen in Cameroon that it's not a new. The politicians have weighed the masses. They have seen what the masses can do and what they cannot do. We saw all that during this period. They have also weighed the masses and also understand that the masses have a little knowledge or understanding about what politics is all about. That is why each and everyone went on their Facebook pages, Instagram, and all the like, and they were pouring out a lot of angry sentiments, some funny statements and all the like. At the end of the day, people are hating themselves, and instead of seeing that politicians would finally come back together on the drawing table and see how to build the nation. In the minds of politicians, it is the nation that is number one. It is not, who they like or who they don't like. The nation is number one, and that is why you see, not long from now, all political parties are going to go back on board. We have just seen how MRC is already mobilizing to be able to sit up again and confront the political scenario of Cameroon. I think if you see the latest, Professor Maurice Kanto is already taking the lead to man. That is to tell you that what you think went wrong may not necessarily be wrong. It may just necessarily be political in nature. And those who those who are not knowledgeable enough, they will begin to hurt themselves, insult themselves, and be running away. Why have people? A lot of people have gone on exile. Some lose their lives, and some are in prison, and some are hurt or one thing or the other. And if you see, those who are captives of these things are not even politicians. They are more of the masses who knew little or nothing about politics, because politics is a game of interest, and we have said it again and again. Now, we went to school not to study and then come and do something else. Unfortunately, a lot of people went to school, studied to write exams and pass exams, but now to apply what we learned in school in the society, it's a very big problem. Can you justify to me why a journalist will become an activist instead of reporting, correct reporting during crisis?
You have raised that. No, you have raised that. Let me give you a justification.
Okay.
Because in journalism, there's what we call.
You asked me what was right or wrong.
Yes.
So
There's an issue about journalism, and as a journalist, I cannot idle by, whereas that allegations is made.
No, it's not an allegation. It's an observation.
It's still an allegation. Still an allegation. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Observation.
Yes.
This is in journalism.
Yes.
There are different types of journalism.
Okay.
There's what we call partisan journalism
And activism.
No, partisan journalism. You can describe it as activism journalism.
Okay.
There's what we call partisan journalism, development journalism. There's what we call.
What was Ernest Obama doing?
Ernest Obama is doing activism.
When you call it
when you call maybe you may describe it as activism or partisan, but in journalism, there's what we call partisan journalism, which was common according to Francis Nyamjo.
What was Bruno Bijan doing?
They know what they were doing, but I am explaining you that in journalism, if this is our field, and I'm explaining how it's operating. Okay. There's what we call partisan journalism, development journalism. There's what we call peace journalism.
Okay.
There's what we call investigative journalism.
Yes.
There's what we call also developmental journalism, and there's what we call news reporting journalism,
And
which means
journalism.
Investigating, not instigating, investigative journalism.
Okay.
Investigative journalism. Now, a journalist is not different. Is first of all a Cameroonian who also has a role, whether he belongs to a political party or not. So you cannot say whatever a journalist. If a journalist chooses to be partisan, it's not activism. An activist has a different role. But if a journalist decides to be partisan, whether from the eye of those who supported the ruling party or from the eye or the eyes of those who don't support the ruling party.
Mr. Javis, when you are in your profession, you carry out professional activities.
It's still in context. No, it's still in context. No, it's still in context. That's what I'm explaining to you that the so-called development journalism. So each journalist has a particular. That's why you cannot take an investigative journalist and compare with a journalist who practices development journalism.
Okay, so why do we attack the others who also do partisan journalism?
No, you see it as attack. When you say we, I don't know. We are not part of the we.
No, because I hear people talking about.
But they don't
talk about the other journalists who is able to do that.
The issue is why are people not we? Why are people attacking? Because when you use that we, it's like we are inclusive to those who are attacking those guys. So the question is, why are people attacking those guys? Now you cannot. It's like you takes a man of God who is supposed to preach and say that this man of God is not supposed to be partisan, because it takes a political decision to go to church. It takes a political decision to also be in the newsroom peacefully.
No, when he is on pulpit, pulpit is pulpit. When he gets to politics, politics is politics.
So what is different?
You don't mix things.
I don't understand. When Doc is talking like this, does it mean that when you are a journalist, you cannot belong to a political party?
No, you can't.
Let me come, Doc. When you were talking, I think I hope we listen. I feel
that I was the one talking before you people called me.
I thought you had landed.
You are the one that called me. I had not landed.
Okay, Doc.
So you people instead called me and you
we are sorry.
Okay.
We are sorry. We are sorry.
Okay. All right. Now, what was I looking at? I was looking at what went right or what went wrong. So again, all of us have come back to the point to say that in politics, we don't say things went wrong. We rather say that things went the way they ought to be, because from every indication, my fellow panelists are already agitating, for me to say that things went wrong in a certain area. That is to say that everything went right. I'm coming back.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Javis. I want to appreciate Doc so seriously for that wonderful analysis. But I would say I want to differ with him a little bit, because things went wrong. Those things that went wrong are what politicians are supposed to correct. Reason why the topic is what are the lessons they are supposed to learn. Now I want to first of all say the first thing that went wrong is I want to take the politicians first. They themselves had a problem. Why do I say they had a problem? We have been in this country and we face the same problem, the same result, the same problem, the same result, and we still continue in that the same system. It becomes a problem. I think that is one of the fundamental things that went wrong. Now, looking at it, that there are some politicians that have decided with time to boycott elections, and when they were asked why they had to boycott, they gave the reasons with the penal code, the electoral code, sorry, that had a problem. I still feel you knowing that the electoral code has a problem, and you still stand in for election, what are you doing? We have been here, Javis have said I said Cameroon, we are doing politics of the stomach, and I have said once there is a system that comes to power, that system has all it wants to maintain power. And therefore, if you are coming to fight against that system, you need to put all the parameters into place. You need to make sure that the terrain that you are supposed to do wrestling is that which will be comfortable for any wrestler to take part. But we see that the terrain was not the way it was supposed to be. But still here they come in. That's why I call some of the political parties, they are political distractors. They should keep aside and let Cameroonians, those who want to do politics, come in front and do the politics the real way. That is the reason why you see a number of political parties that are in this country. What are they saying? That's another place that went wrong. Did we need more than 11 political parties to be presented in this presidential election? It is a lesson to be learned. 11, why 11? I have said here that there is an objective why we create a political party.
Well, it's supposed to be more in terms of the constitution.
If not of the, because we already know that there are some parties that they are there just to distract. That is why if you see Javis after these elections, if somebody is saying that elections have just passed and there is nothing in one where we have gotten things that there can be no smoke without fire. Doctor, you will bear with me that the fact that people were not agitated, it means they were not satisfied, and therefore there was a problem. You will not say we just say it was like that. There is a lesson to be learned from the fact that they were not satisfied. It means that they are supposed to correct themselves, Doc. I feel so. So if I want to come back there, where you see the elections, you are going in for an election. Somebody put it in a situation of a football match. You have the coach, the referee, everything is managed by one person, and you are going. You think you will win? No, it's difficult.
You can win it before the goal from the midfield.
Excuse me, it's difficult. You can score the goal from the midfield and VAR decide to tell you that it was not a goal, and they use all the parameters because they are the one controlling the machine. VAR is not God. At times we watch football and people say VAR, no, VAR is not God. They can decide to put the images anywhere and say that it was not a goal, it was an offside goal, it becomes an offside goal. And so we see politics, and after this I say there is a lot of political immaturity in Cameroon. The politicians, they are playing what I have termed politics of the stomach. That is why how many politicians in Cameroon have actually come out to denounce certain things? Those who were clamoring to be president of this country. Now it becomes a problem. It's a lesson to be learned. I'm a dog. They are supposed to learn from the fact that we have tried under these conditions and it has not worked. It is high time we sit down and say, let us review the game. It is high time we sit down and say, unless certain parameters are put in place, therefore we are not coming in. It will be important for us to bring those checks and balance. You cannot tell me that you create a political party yesterday, Mr. Javis, and tomorrow you want to be the president of the republic. It does not go like that in politics. Politics, it must have roots. You don't just create political party today and then you say I want to go in for presidency, and that is political immaturity. So Mr. Javis, the question is, what are the lessons that politicians are supposed to learn? Me, I feel the first thing is that if you are politically immature, you need some time to be mature in politics. Don't come and distract Cameroonians. And this is what happened. You see, I told you that when you asked a question, I told you that it was a natural drop, because those distractors, they are the ones that have come and stealing our small percentages that we could have put together, and then we make a good results of this presidential election. Another lesson that I want to is the fact that politics, Doug has said, is a game of interest, but at times politics is to serve the people. That is politics. Because we put in a game of politics, a game of interest, it means we want to say that Cameroon is not embracing what we have called full democracy.
No,
in a full democratic state.
When he said game of interest, probably maybe you are getting it out of his.
No, I'm getting him correctly, because when you say a game of interest, Javis, let me just laugh. When you say a game of interest, it means once my interest is guaranteed.
Maybe your interest is to take care of the people now.
No,
Your interest is to
well,
make sure that
yeah,
the people have water,
let me
the
learn
people have- It's not interest.
Yes, it's interest. Well, you have said the game of interest. Maybe let me learn the way I'm learning. It means I have cut my own small periphery and I'm okay with it. Therefore, the rest does not concern me. To my own way of reasoning it, but it is far from that. It is far from that. That's why I'm talking of. If you know that is another lesson. If you know that you are not politically matured to stand in for presidency, don't put your candidature. What do I talk of political maturity? The only party that is politically matured, the only party that is politically matured in Cameroon is the CPDM. And I give them a chapeau for that. Because they are everywhere. If this election that passed, they were represented in all the electoral stations, true or false. But you have a political party that is saying that they are going for presidency, but they are not represented all over the country.
There was a political party that said they have 31,000.
No.
Recruited 31,000.
That right, Mr. Javis, we have followed this thing all together now. There are some that they have said because it is the law of the LECAM that when we are not represented, the LECAM officials, they have the right to look for somebody so that he stands for that. Is he representing you? It means you are not yet matured and you are going for
maybe it's because they trust the LECAM.
No, it's not trusting here. The watchword for a position was we vote and monitor our vote. And the sole person that was supposed to be there to defend your vote was a representative.
Okay, I'll be coming back.
And if you don't have, that is political immaturity. So if they are not mature, please, it's a lesson to be learned.
Okay.
To go in, you should be politically mature that you should know that if there is a police station in Furawa, you need to send a representative there. I come back later.
Let's get to Papi. So before then, let me read on this. Good afternoon, Mr. Javis. I love your program. We can only grumble and stay because we failed from the beginning. We were supposed to denounce the electoral body because we all knew it was all about CPDM, and the worst of all refused coalition. Emmanuel from Tico, the refuser of coalition. This right. He said, "Thank you very much. I love today's topic. I just say the failure we had is that the opposition parties decided not to come together. The refusal not coming together is a testament that CPDM stand as a veritable force." My name is Juan, writing from Boya. This one writing from Ekondotiti. He says, watching from Facebook, my own opinion is that all the opposition parties are not serious. For now, we have just a few opposition parties. FSNC and that of Tomaino Damjoya are the only opposition party, plus this young man Hiram, who is now coming up to replace Cabral Libi. I think if Hiram plays a good deal and plays his job very well, he will replace Cabral Libi in the upcoming presidential election. Mr. Javis, but let's be realistic. The opposition party fail big time.
You see, when I hear people talking about politics in Cameroon, sometimes it makes me to laugh because to an extent, I studied politics, and again, I am a leader, and I keep on observing what is happening every day all around the country. You see, there is one basic thing I think we have to address before even we can, see if we have to draw one lesson or the other. From my first two, or from the first two analysts, it seems as we are not yet, we do not yet agree on what politics means. What is politics? We do not agree, and this is a serious problem in our country, because any person you meet will define politics his own way, and this is not good for... Yeah, okay, so this is not good for, educational purposes. In fact, I think the majority of Cameroonians, and even those who are not partaking into political, activities, who are probably students of primary schools, could have been able to say politics. If you ask them what is politics, they will tell you what is politics. In Cameroon, it is not the same. That is why some people say interest, and yet they will not tell to which extent, because when you talk about interest, you have to clarify. You don't just say interest, because we all know it is interest, but for the sake of our televiewers and so on, it is good to say first that the interests are global interests, that is well-being of the entire community. And secondly, there is, some kind of partisan interest, depending maybe from when we are in a national presidential election or local elections. Because even when it is presidential elections, you see, some people vote a candidate because they are expecting to have some benefits from. So we have to explain all these things to the population, so that people should not just think that politics is it's like gambling or playing cards, deceiving people and so on. And I think we are a growing nation, and all these things have to be taught to the populations. And that is the reason why I would say, if we have to talk about drawing lessons, one of the lessons we have to draw comes from that, the fact that people are not well educated, and that is why they could make wrong choices.
That's what I told you to hear.
First of all, we have another aspect of it, which is the disconnection between the masses and the political parties. I belong to a political party, which is the UPSR, PUS, of Serge Espoir Matumba. If you go to some places, you tell people about Serge Espoir Matumba, people who pretend to be involved in politics, they will tell you they don't know him. But what is the reason? Because they are not going towards the information. If you want to be somebody who can bring out relevant arguments about political leaders, you must search to know who are the political parties, from when that political party was formed. Is that this person elected at the local level or whatever? But most of the people don't know. Another lesson we should draw before we get to some other ones which are related to our political parties is that during I think these two last presidential elections,
2018 and 2025.
Yes, you saw candidates who went to what we call Yangu parties. That's nonsense in politics. No, ultimately, it is. Yeah, I agree with you. That's what I want to say, because I don't see the reason. Personally, I don't see the reason why Cameroonians will agree with somebody who is not able to form his own political parties. Because if you form your political party and that in length can survive after election, it shows that probably you might be a good leader, that you are able to keep people together, you are able to manage, the community. You mentioned the name of Iram. Iram does not, the gentleman, Iram does not have a political party. Iram was part of the, no, he was part of the team of Professor Maurice Kamto in 2018. He was in his team. And now the person who is the president of that party is whether Atangana or somebody like that.
Yes, Atangana something, or
yeah,
FDC.
So, or FDC. So Iram is not, he was a candidate, he's not a member of political. How comes Cameroonians will believe somebody like that who just came out for for election. So we have to learn about all this, you know. Then we come to our political parties. For example, we are trying to address that issue in a political party. That is, there are many people who come in a political party, but they don't want to learn. So in most political parties, there is a lack of training. They don't train. You need to train your members. You need to raise leaders in your political party, leaders, people who can speak in the public. This is very crucial, because if you do not have people who can, you know, represent the political party with strong arguments, then you have not done anything. I want to take some examples. Look at these fellows who joined political parties as soon as the elections were passed, and then they have run away. Some would say, you hear somebody saying that if my leader will not declare this candidate, this so or so candidate as elected, then I will give up. So you see that the most important problem we have here is the problem of education. How mature are we to take part into the elections? Okay, the other aspect of it is, in general, we have to consider that the system, our system is not good. We need to look for, you know, means to put pressure on the states to change some of the rules. It is very, very important, because you see, I hear some people talking about neutrality. No, nobody can be neutral. Actually, you cannot be neutral. You can just be, you know, for the sake of ethics. You understand? You are a civil servant, or maybe you are a member of a LECAM. Yeah. For the sake of ethics, if results come in front of you, you declare them as they are supposed to be. But you cannot be, they cannot expect people to be neutral. And political parties should learn this. Because one day or the other, who knows, they may come to power. And so if you come to power, what will you say? You'll be neutral. No? You'll be neutral. Yes. Become neutral at that time. So that's why I often tell the members of my political party that, listen, don't insult the people who are in power. Mayors, don't insult even the council workers. Because what are you aspiring to? To become a mayor. And a mayor, a good mayor, whether you are a woman or a man, you become, that is, you are in a position of a father or a mother. You have to consider all these guys, each depending on what their abilities to perform, what you expect them to do for the council to run well. So I think all these things have to be taken into consideration, so that in the next elections, population should not just be there saying that, no, we need coalition. No, let them first of all try to know about the
get to the political parties, understand their ideology, their programs and so on, and then take heed of what we are saying. Because, you know, there is another aspect which I want us to address, which is that if you speak and people don't trust you because, okay, you belong to this political party, or because you are from this area of the country, that is not good for the, you know, improvement of our daily living. You know, we are students. For example, I worked with the civil service for some times. If I have to teach, those people I'm teaching should trust in me. But that trust is not. And that is one of the hurdles or the hindrances that are not permitting us to effect change in our country. You need to believe someone who is speaking. You need to believe him and give him an opportunity, you know, because in French, we commonly say, on reconnaît le maçon au pied du mur. So give a chance to someone. And this appears even in our generational relationship today. People of
and age. The elder ones seems always to say that the younger people, no, they are incapable of doing. No, give someone
Give them
a chance. So okay. I think those are the first lessons I think I can draw.
This message, Happy Sunday. I disagree with your guest when he says CPDM is the only matured party. For me, Cameroon is under attack and use top-bottom methods of rule. If we are not careful, we may be into another conflict. We need God's intervention. We have supernatural beings in the name of elite and leaders. Gilberto, writing from the West Region, Bafusam. This one says, thank you, Javis and panelists. What lessons to learn? The main lesson to learn from the election is that CPDM is not Cameroonians are mature enough, but CPDM is not democratically mature to accept. Okay, your message is gotten.
You've gotten that. Yeah.
This one I say thank you very much, Dr. Esingie. I only have a problem with the fact that you said interest. To me, the interest should be global. But for what you have said, you're right. Politicians must learn to work together and see how they can move the nation forward. This is Joan, right? This other one, right? This is talking about politics in Cameroon. We want to say that everything went wrong as Mr. Issa Chuma clearly the Constitutional Council decided to declare Julius Ombamenda. Julius, a message you got it. Dr. Esingie. Now, he was looking at the fact that your method of mentioning the interest probably did not understand. Maybe you elaborate more on that.
Well, actually, I am not that kind of analyst that focuses on what someone thinks about what I said. I'm talking about what is on ground, what we see. Yes, you know, there are things that ought to be, but there are things that are. We should always know the difference. This is logic. Those who have done logic, they will tell you. The father ought to be the head of the house, but in most homes, it is the mothers that are the head. But there is a man in the house. That is for wisdom. We should not get to a point where we begin to argue what we see clearly. Yes, what we see clearly. When you talk about democracy, even in America, democracy is not practiced the way we want it to happen in Cameroon. Democracy has the way it works. The masses will vote in America, and there will still be another section of people that must vote.
The electoral college.
Yes, the electoral college, before they decide who wins. So it is not the population that you have, it is what the electoral college will say at the end of the day. That's what happens even in America and even in Britain. That's exactly what happens. And that's what we want to talk about democracy. Democracy came from those places. It didn't come from Cameroon, neither did it come from Africa. And that's why we're trying to say that all the philosophers had described what a state is all about. They had told us that politics is for the law, the justice is for the interest of the stronger party, and that is what it is. Even if you go now to any court or the world, it's the interest of the stronger party. Now, I also want to let you know that a lot of our politicians are not ignorant. No, they are not. That's why I will still tell you that nothing went wrong. I will still tell you nothing went wrong. The reason I will say nothing went wrong is because our politicians are not ignorant of the status quo. They are not ignorant. Some of them have gentleman agreements in different places. They know where they did some agreements, and they know why the things are going the way they are going. They know. They know. There is no politician, just like how my fellow colleague said here, that they know that the constitution is set this way. They know that these are the rules that are already in place. They know that these are the things. They know. So to say that they are ignorant is a lie. It means that everything went well according to plans. That's it. Yes, they planned it. According to plans. How can
nothing went wrong? It was a strategy.
Yes. How can you tell me that there are 31,000 police stations in Cameroon and you are not sure of having 2,000 police stations covered for your name? It means that you already knew what was happening.
That's why he described that they are politically mature now.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, don't put it mature. They are politically correct.
Correct.
Yes, they are politically correct.
Yeah, I understand.
When you want to talk about maturity now, is another thing.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, some of them decide not to say anything after the elections. That's an indication to tell you that they know that everything went as planned. That's what it is. But unfortunately, we are still saying, like Pao was trying to still telling us about educating the masses, which I think the civil society has a lot to do with that. If at all the civil society themselves are educated about politics, especially that of Africa. Because the civil society must be the people who understand, who have gone around, deep information, just like Hapa is saying. Because you cannot teach people what you don't know. So how will you teach people what BDM was doing? They don't talk. You just see they just do what they want to do. You will be angry and you're going. As you're angry and you're going, they are doing the next one. Because that is how politics works. They were running the country as if nothing is happening. And that is what is still going on till now. As if nothing is happening. Because of what? A lot of our people, politicians, have gentleman agreements. Yes. They have gentleman agreements. And which is correct. If you had agreed that you will never stand for politics or campaign or elections in this country, and then you come and stand, you have breached agreement. Because you signed an agreement. You benefited from it. You enjoyed from the process. And then when it comes to time when you think you have gotten what you want, you will break gentleman's agreement. That gentleman's agreement binds wherever it is. And that's why the international community doesn't see politics the way you and I see it. That's why you see, after an election, they will tell the person that won, congratulations, because he has played his dues. He has paid his dues. He knows what to do. How many of these are political leaders had relationships with international communities? How many of them built relationship with different countries of the world? How many of them built relationship with even ambassadors that are sent to Cameroon? How many of them know ambassadors of these countries? How many of them? As if they don't know that the politics of Africa has something to do with the international community. Has something, when I say something, a lot of it has to do with the international community. So you don't have any relationship. You have not built any plan B. And then you think that your own politics is going to rely on what the people will say. The truth is, in some way you are correct, because that's what they told you in primary school and maybe secondary school, that democracy is government of the people, for the people, and by the people. But those who taught that lesson in primary school, most of them die without having any say in the affairs of the country. And those who learned,
and even voting is having a say in the affairs of the country now.
How many people vote? If you ask some of these people,
Those who talk now, they
participated in the process.
So
like we
okay.
Yes, you got the problem.
All right. Okay. All right. I'm still going to tell you this truth. Even those who said that education is the key knows that the padlock changes after you finish from school. And that's why the people who are successful in the society are not people who went to school per se. But even though education to a level gives you leverage in your community and your society and gives you access to places that ignorance cannot carry you to. Like what I said, there are many things that give you access in the world of influence. Education is one of them. Money is one of them. Politics is another one. When we talk about politics, we're talking about power. Power gives you access. Whether you went to school or you didn't go to school, that's what we have seen. Most of our politicians in Africa, if you ask them, many of them didn't go to school. Many didn't go to school. But the ones who went to school, they do politics correctly. What they read, what they analyzed. If you want to assess like what some of our professors and doctors who are in political parties, you will see the way they do politics is totally different from the ones that didn't went to school. So because they have a mastery of what the international community understands. They know that there are certain things if I will do today, it will block me from the international communities where they will not be able to attack me when I get out there. So they protect their interests. They protect their interests. They still come back to interest. Now let me ask you another question. These political leaders, for how long does a political party maintain one candidate as their representative? For how long? Because I know in associations, they vote you once, they vote you twice, the next time you step down, the others have to continue. How come most of our political parties, they are having leaders that have been there for 15, 20 years and counting?
So like, force the experience now.
Okay, force the experience. That's what I'm trying to say. So when you people ask of the truth, and we want to tell you the truth and ask you the truth, you'll be angry. But this is what is happening. Some of these are political leaders. Give them governance tomorrow, they will not leave that place. They will not go anywhere. It is showing you the dictatorship that exists in our political parties in Cameroon is terrible. I'm talking about dictatorship at the level of opposition parties. Let's not even talk about maybe CPDM, because they will say now it's a ruling party. But at the level of the opposition party, the dictatorship that exists there are some people who are the godfathers. They are the ones that have the final say, not even who does what. They sit from where they are and decide who is going to be what. And that is what happens. It's not election, it's not voting. It's not voting. Before they came to stand for presidential elections, some of them did some elections in where they came from. It will tell you that it was decided from up that this is the person that is going to be there. It was decided. So that is exactly what I'm trying to bring to you. That if you want to talk about political correctness, you'll be making a lot of mistakes. You'll be judging it from different angles. But judging it from the angle of logic and what politics is all about, it will tell you that everything that went during this period is correct. When I say correct,
politically correct.
Politically correct.
Okay, we'll be coming back to you. Now let's take this case. Let's look at the prism of the ruling party. What lessons should they learn from this just ended presidential election?
Before I come there, Mr. Javis, senior person here made mention of something with regards to people reading about certain political parties. Now, I just wanted to say, if people, those of our grandmothers that are in the village, will not be able to read about a political party. That's why I'm saying that political parties need to make themselves known to the grassroots.
Exactly.
They need to make themselves known to the grassroots. They need to move there and inform the people. And that's why I also say that the lesson learned is their manifesto, like Doctor is saying here. Their manifesto should be convincing that people know that we are out for business. And therefore, the aspect of the dictatorship aspect that is the same party candidate for years, it will not take place, even within the party. Those are things that can be corrected. Like Pa also said, he made mention of the fact that the governing body, or what, we know the institutions that we need to actually sit and see that they are okay. But coming to CPDM, Mr. Javis, you know, CPDM,
they moved from 70-something.
They moved from 70-something to 53. It is an eye-opener to them, because first of all, they knew it is not a new thing. They know that they have been up there. So I feel that one of the things that they should learn, and which they should actually try to convince the masses or the Cameroonians now, is that it's like the Cameroonians, they are fed up with what their policies. I think the lesson that I feel they should put in place is changing their strategies. We know some of the strategies, bread and sardine strategy, is not working again. We saw it on Facebook now, how some people actually refused, and we even saw how some people were fighting because of this bread and sardine. I think it's not working again. Another thing that I feel they should know that people are no more politically ignorant as before. It is a moment that when we come, we should match our words with action. It is not like for example, coming to tell people because it is election time, he bring canopies and he start telling people that we are going to construct you roads, we are going to do it. Please, before then, it is not even only for the CPDM.
Is it not also bad that people collect money from some opposition parties, from some parties and don't vote them?
No, but that is why that is why Doctor has said it's politics. It's politics. That is why I was a little bit disturbed with the interest affair because if I'm collecting your money, it becomes.
And you collect somebody money.
No, but that is politics. That's Mr. Javis, it's not corruption. I did not force you to give me money. Now it is not like I said give me money and then.
In some communities where
we saw
members are angry that they get money and people do not vote.
Mr. Javis, I actually saw a situation that a man of God. It was not like I was in church. I was preaching that if they give you that money, collect the money. Collect it and then know the person that you are going to vote. So is that corruption? I don't feel that it is corruption. So I was saying that with the CPDM, they should match with action. For example, even with those of the opposition, please, opposition people, it should not be time for election before we see you. We should see your fingerprints on the field before election time. When we talk of political parties in Cameroon, Mr. Javis, I ask myself, what is the landmark that some of these political parties they have actually put in our different communities that will convince us to vote for them? It is a serious problem. Tangible landmarks. They don't have. How many? Tell me that this they don't provide. Their problem is it's a lesson. Because
I don't think the government will stop an opposition party from providing boreholes. Yes, they cannot.
There are things that I just every political party.
Even in coming up with farming scheme to empower farmers, I don't think that the government
empower the youth. There are things that they can do so that the youth say, no, this political party, we are like this.
Scholarships.
God have mercy on me. You are mentioning them. But to create a doctor, if you want to enter politics, you know that you need to sacrifice.
Perfect.
And so that is why
I always said that.
Doctor, that is why I said that. You don't enter politics because you want to enter politics.
No.
You enter politics because you want to do politics, and you must be ready for it. And so there are lessons, my brother, that they should understand that the world is evolving. We are tired of preaching and preaching. We want action. That's why if somebody brings action now, even if he has been in power for 30 years, we'll follow that person.
That's what happened.
And that is why he has said, yeah, I totally agree with him. Because they will keep, because they know, they will keep. It is power. Javis, I've always said, once, like Pa said here, being a politician, you should not insult another one, because when you come in, you also set your own system.
That's true.
And when you set your own system, your first interest is to actually see that that system is consolidated. And therefore, when we see our politicians in Cameroon, I always talk, I'll preach before doctor take over, I'll always preach, please let us try. The lesson for CPDM is that the words are too much. Please match your words now with action. Thank you, Javis.
Okay, thank you very much. We're getting to Pa, but before then, let me get on these messages. Some says that Max, my very good friend from Germany, Germany, right? He says, hello, Javis. I don't know if we are talking of the election that led to the arrest of Anisene Kane, Perfect Mvomi, and Juken Chamani, that are recognized political actors. If yes, how can someone tell that everything went well? Anyways, there is no mature political party in Cameroon because none of them have known both being in the opposition and being at the presidency. Greetings to your panel. This oral right, it says, good afternoon, Javis. Let's us forget about democracy. We are in a full-time a system that you talk against, they come after you. We have big brains in Cameroon, either in jail or on the run, because they came against the system. In this type of dash ship, no good news will ever come from the ballot box. Kevin, writing from Bamenda. Good afternoon to you, House of Commons. The lesson that they should learn is that the only that only the only the dash can help us. By then we can go through a transition and be a better democratic nation. They should also take note that in Africa, power is taken by force and not given. To those who are Sumon Jangi Group's houses, you will know that power is sweeter than honey. Ebua from Bafusam. Pa, you talked about the fact that there's a bit of disconnect. But before I come to answer the question of disconnect, good afternoon. The lessons we learned from the recent election in Cameroon are as follows. One, in Cameroon, the re-election results are leveraged by the CPDM for their leadership appointment. Two, the Constitutional Council and ELECAM holds the final authority rather than the electorate. Three, some opposition parties operate in disguise as part of the ruling party. DJ April writing from Kongsamba. But you talked about the fact that there's a disconnect between political parties and the people. How do we foster this connection? Because like he said, there are a lot of people who probably may not go towards a political party, but they say if the Muhammad don't go to the mountain, let the mountain come to Muhammad now. Or is it a taboo for the mountain to come to Muhammad?
No, well, that is it is very easy to say that. You understand? Cameroonians should be eager to learn, and then there are a number of things. Every society is structured. You understand? So it is not. We don't need to go to the grandmother in the village. In fact, I will say a number of things to maybe regret some of the things which you mentioned. We have the civil society. We should agree that one of the failures in politics in our country is the poor, activity of the civil society. The civil society in Cameroon doesn't serve the community.
At least they're good at one thing, giving rights during conflicts,
civil society,
giving my trust.
Civil society is not helping us to grow. Because, in fact, even if political parties will not go right to the, to the grassroots in the villages, at least there are a number of elites who maybe are eager to see that there is a change. And that is how some people leave one political party or decide, even if they were no members of a political party, to join one of the political parties because they have read about the policies of that political party. And so they come and spread it in their environment, tell the people that no, this political party is has a good package for us, so let us go join it. Another thing I want to say is, it is understood in Africa that unless you are in power, unless you have a portion of power to exercise, then you don't expect the political parties to come and carry any developmental activity anyway. Though we try to do at our own level, because it happens that sometimes we empower people. But most of the time, even when you empower the people, as soon as they begin getting the money, they will just run away. The other thing I want to say is a doctor mentioned about how much political leaders, have connections all around the world. Well, it is not our case because our leader has participated to many UA conferences. He has met leaders of other countries, Macky Sall, the president of Guinea-Bissau, and many others. And he has been taking part to this conference with economic conference with the Russian Confederation.
Okay.
He has participated to all of those.
Did he promise them?
No, the problem is not what did he promise them. First of all, excuse me. What we ought to say here is that if a political leader meets another president, he talks with him. it is not by releasing what he discussed with him that will change the mind of the Cameroonians.
The literate.
No, but at least at least he has taken that step. I think it should be recorded as an effort, because
that is a diplomatic front.
Yeah, that's the diplomatic front. People know that you are there. This is what you are trying to, you have as an idea to pursue. So we shouldn't just say, well, they have to release everything. Now, when we come to we come back a bit about what we should learn. I think the CPDM as a political party should also learn one thing which is very important, that their policies do not match with the
aspiration of the people.
The aspiration of the people. They have not been able to satisfy people, and that is the reason why there was a drop.
They move from 76% to
yes,
53%.
53%. And again, the long stay of the head of state has made it a problem to our minds, that people don't want to see the same person again. But this reflects what? It reflects what you mentioned in political parties. And what I want to say about it is that most of the time we need to know, search or question the process through which political leaders or political parties came to be. You understand? Most of our political parties, and even if we go out of our countries, it depends on whether you are in an Anglo-Saxon culture or not. Because if you look in Great Britain, for example, you are a leader, you are committed to carry on policies. If it doesn't work, they push you aside. In the USA, you have this the Republican and the Democratic parties. They do not have, it is not the leader of the party that becomes the candidate.
Yeah.
They have their own process.
It's the same thing in Nigeria. Nigeria is not a chairman of a party that becomes the
chairman
candidate.
Of the party.
It falls under the objective.
Yeah. If you go in Germany, it is the same thing. You become a leader for a moment to
coordinate the party,
to coordinate activities, and to man the policies of the party.
Yeah.
And when you have completed your mandate, you are pushed out. But when you come to other countries, if you go to France till I think Jacques Chirac, till when we had Jacques Chirac, who was the leader of his party. Today, those who are coming were not necessarily the leaders of those parties, except Mélenchon, who is the leader of his party. Even Macron, who is there. Macron came in through a movement.
Yeah, yes.
So I think that, Doctor happened to study politics. I did political anthropology. And I strongly believe that the reason why we fail in politics is that we don't believe, or we have not tried to assess our traditional, communities, our chiefdoms, to see whether we can identify the political
structures
and facts within, whether it works or not. But we in anthropology, we have come to understand that even within our different chiefdom, there is politics. And how does it operate? And I began to develop some kind of, approaches to this by producing, some contents, telling people that we need to domesticate what we learn from school. That is, bring it into our communities, because we are in a state of denial of what is done in our communities. Today we condemn our chiefs. We condemn everything in our communities, rather than trying to bring what we learned out, which is from abroad. Read what is done in our communities, compare and see whether they are not at all relationship between both of them. And if there were some relationship, how can we work them so that we might come to a better condition? We talk about democracy. Well, people perceive democracy as what? They say the government of the people,
by the people, and for the people.
Yeah,
for the people, for the people.
Yeah, for the people. Excuse me.
That's what I thought last week even. So we can continue.
Yeah, excuse me. Do you think that that democracy is not obtained in our villages just because they are not political parties? Can you ascertain that it is not obtained?
It's obtained because every quarter has what we call the notable of the council is picked
We are
quarter.
Not just one. Listen, let us take our let us take our chiefdom. When you have a chief, you have those who are called elders. Let's say elders.
Yes.
Who are represent what do they represent? Lineages in that community. And when you go in, you will see that there are specific functions that are assigned to every single lineage. There are things which you cannot perform in that village except you belong. And then the acceptance of the chief. How do you interpret it? Is that not democracy? Do you think it's not democracy? We have accepted that it is our chief. Everybody, nobody can disagree with
it's
that.
Democracy, but it's not the Lincoln democracy.
Excuse me.
To an extent, even it's not democracy because
No, democracy is part of the crazy. There's not the
and then it is not because today, modern government or way of governing has taken an upper hand, in running everything.
But we coming back.
Yeah, excuse me.
Just land briefly.
Yeah,
We have
yes.
an asset to take.
But if you go into our villages, you see that those chiefs sometimes conduct developmental activities in their village. What difference is there between what they do and what the government brings?
Thank you very much. We'll be taking on this
That's
advert break, and when we come back, we'll continue the program.
I am Express Exchange, leader in money transfers within Cameroon for more than 15 years via my international partners MoneyGram, Western Union, Ria Transfer, World Remits, and others. You can send and receive money all over the world. I assist you in all your mobile money transactions and buying of communication credit. You're always welcome to my 300 branches for payment of your ENEO, electricity bills, and your university tuition fees, the payment of school fees and competitive examination fees for high schools and college via the Campus Money platform. Because your satisfaction is my priority, I assure you on ever-increasing and improved quality service, payments, availability of cash for your transactions. Express Exchange, the #1 in quality service in Cameroon.
This message, this person writes on Facebook, Nkongo Nongho Robinson says, Dr. Esingie is someone I respect so much. He shaped our relationship every Tuesday, but giving any positive feedback concerning the past election, accept greetings from Bambalang Doctor. I derive a lot of inspiration from you, and happy Sunday to you guys in the studio. This other one right, it says, good afternoon to you in the studio, Mr. Rogers from Kumba. The opposition don't come together, but we, the voters, came together, but nothing changed. There is nothing in Cameroon like a blessed Sunday to you all at the studio. House of Commons, with the presidential election are behind us, the lessons for political parties should be unity above division. Elections must not tear us apart. Political parties should learn that building bridges, not walls, is the only way forward. A nation's strength lies in the unity, and the true leaders are those who unite, not divide. Thank you for the opportunity. I am Asana from Bafusam. Asana from Bafusam. This was all right. It says, good afternoon, Javis, my brother Javis. I am Divine writing from Limbe. Please, I am following the program closely since you started. I really want to contribute to the program, but the thing I don't understand when you read a message is the one you read and called dash. What does that mean? That is why I think my message should be read with dash. The truth is, I appeal that please, if you are sending us messages, you should not insult. You should also follow what we call the Republican way of sending messages. You understand? And ethically, there are some words that I cannot pronounce. You know, from the perspective of ethics, ethics makes our hands tight in those ethical positions, and you not expect me to read those messages from an ethical position, except you want me to be a quack and a charlatan. And that's why we say when you are sending on your message, please be respectful, send an opinion and that does not attack the integrity of somebody or the integrity or the territorial integrity of the nation. At the end of the day, without Cameroon will not perform journalism, journalism will not be performed, and without peace and stability in Cameroon, you will not be able to actually go to your church. That's why I take our time to address this issue, because some of you may think that I'm reading the dash. I read messages without dash. Give your opinion, state. We are looking at what lessons need to be learned. Say, okay, this lesson. We are not going back from what happened in the period. We are saying what lessons. So, Dr. Esingie, let us look at the ruling party. The ruling party had dropped from 70 something to 53. Also, is there any lesson from that perspective that needs to be learned?
Okay, we are happily talking about from 73 to 53. If these particular elections, the CPDM went to 93, what we are seeing here now would have been different. But because the CPDM is a political dynamite, they know how to handle these things properly. Because logically speaking, they had alliances with the northern people, and all of a sudden some of them disconnected, which gives you a reason why, if they give you a point or whatever, you will find it as a problem. So therefore, CPDM understanding how politics operates, and the only party who had representatives in 31,000 polling stations. The only party. That's the truth, because even those who say they won did not have representation in up to 3,000 polling stations. That is to tell you that whatever CPDM comes up with, he understands how politics operates. He understands how to appease its people. It's all right, even if we have 90%, we are going to give our people, this number so that they can feel comfortable about it. That's how this.
When you say they can give our people this number, what do you mean?
Because they were the only ones that had the representation in all those polling
stations. But
it's
having representation of all the polling stations and indication that you may win an election.
Okay.
Numerically.
Why?
Numerically. We are looking at the
units. Okay, now why representation? Why?
Yeah, we cannot come.
No, I want to, Mr. Javis, since you people want to do, we want to do logic and the truth.
Yes.
Why representation?
Yeah,
to be able to protect your vote.
Yes.
And count your vote.
Yes.
So who do you want to count your vote for?
No, I'm basing on the fact that my question to you is having representative of all the polling station an indication that you can have a numerical number. For example,
it means you have an upper hand.
No, let's look at Wuri. Let's look at Wuri. Wuri is 1/8 of the biggest voting bloc.
No, that is what you are saying.
No, that's the figures. It's not what I'm saying. It's not what I am saying. It is what the figure from the Constitutional Council. I'm placing my mind on result released by the Constitutional Council, except you are saying that what I'm saying and what the Constitutional Council is saying is wrong.
You're asking me why?
No, you brought the idea about
you are asking me why the CPDM is having 53 instead of 70.
Yeah, I'm talking about what.
So I am giving you probable reasons.
The issue is that you touch an area that warranted further questions.
No, it is probable reasons. That may be the reason. Now, because I was not there when statistics and analysis were made by the LECAM, which is the only legal body to give us statistics. That again is political science.
Because let me cue you in, Doctor. Let me cue you in.
Yes.
In 2018, the opposition put together was unable to have 600,000 votes. All the opposition put together came with not up to 500,000 votes.
Yes.
In 2018, Wuri alone gave a candidate 360 something thousand votes based on what Elekam, the Constitutional Council, released. So my question back to you is that what could have been the problem of the ruling party drop? Because let's look at Fako. The ruling party has never lost in Fako since 1992, but this time they lost in Fako based on official result.
Okay. Now,
I'm looking at what could have caused this reason of the drop.
You're very correct. At least let me go to some attempts. I will always put it attempts, since I cannot actually put my finger on some of the things. You will agree with me that the people are disgruntled. They were angry. They were dissatisfied, especially when some of the elites failed the people. We must agree that some of our elites failed the people. Even some of them were passive about the presidential election, thinking that the people at the top know what to do about it. Why it is not supposed to be like that. The people are supposed to be represented. The people are supposed to feel the warmth of their parties. The people are supposed to get the benefits that come with serving. That's how it is. Which, of course, many people were disgruntled. And then again, we must say that some of the elites of some of those particular divisions have folded the hands of young people. A lot of young people who had ambitions to grow through politics in so many years. They have served the party for 15, 20 years. They are nowhere to be found. They can't go anywhere because some people have hijacked those particular areas and have decided who comes up and who doesn't come up. And they make it very clear and they make it very open. And this period, a lot of them were angry. So you can tell me about Fako. I will tell you about it more because at least I've done a little bit of politics in that area. So I can tell you that these people were not happy. And again, we will agree that,
and a similar thing occurred in Buria, because look at the statistics of 2018.
We will agree that one party prepared the ground and another party came to harvest from the ground. Now it made that wave, people following their brothers and sisters without knowing where they're going. That's one of the carry me go play, I don't know. Yes.
Help me.
Yes. A lot of people followed what they did not know. If you ask them today what happened, they'll say, I don't really know. But the way crowd began, I mean, to the say this, so sometimes I didn't want. But I know people who called me and warned me and told me that, you see, from the way this crowd is gathered, it shows that this. I told them that no, that's not how politics works. We should be careful with Facebook and internet when it comes to certain things concerning political parties. No. It is not gathering of crowd and whatever. It is more of what happens at the end of the day. Did the people do their homework, groundwork, and wise work? Did they carry on their groundwork, their wise work, and all those works? If they didn't carry it out, please, if you follow, you will end somewhere you did not like to go to. And that is what I think. And I still think that in Cameroon, our people need to understand this. And look, Mr. Javis, let's not forget that our chiefs came up and they told us, they gave us, they say President Paul Biya has been given the mandate to rule for life. We must agree that.
But is that also not problematic for chiefs?
When
you accuse journalists of being partisan. Let me go back to an issue I've raised. I never wanted to raise that issue.
Yes.
The issue about chiefs of saying that this is a partisan. Is it not problematic for chiefs to come up openly and say that this candidate is the one, or we just say village, the chief has maybe a notable is a supporter of this party, maybe this other one is a supporter of this party, and now it becomes a problem. We have seen villages where chief says this particular party should not come and campaign.
We came to a period in history where our people were being governed by their chiefs, especially in the advent of the British indirect rule, where the British ruled the people through their chiefs. We had what we called the House of Chiefs that led their people, that could coordinate the affairs of their people. In Britain, we have even the Parliament, the House of Lords and all those things, but we still have the kingdom existing and so on and so forth. So the Cameroonian people, especially the chiefs, did some things. I don't know what influenced them, but I believe that as people that hold our traditions and custom, they handed over the president of Cameroon the power to become their king, Fon of Fons, chief of chiefs, and so on.
So what then is the role of democracy?
At that particular point in time, they didn't know what they did. Maybe they just did it because they were excited. But the truth about it is that spiritually, the atmosphere embraced it and accepted it. And that, yes, that is what gave these kind of powers. Look, truths are supposed to be told. When some of our politicians went and entered gentleman's agreement, they did not know that the gentleman, because we heard some of our main political parties that fought, they said that they said boldly on television that they will never stand when President Pobia is still alive. They said it. So what happened that they violated those agreements? That is where I say that people don't know what they do. These things have spiritual implications and also have physical implications. If you come on television and tell us that so far as President Pobia is still alive, you will never become a president, you will never stand for presidential elections, and then the next minute we are seeing you standing there.
That probably is if their condition is respected. But what if their condition is not respected?
No,
why were you in the corridors when they signed their conditions?
No, because President Pobia was still alive. That was
he was saying that based on the condition.
No, that's the condition.
No, you were not there when the president signed the condition. You just said that there are people who signed Nicodemus agreement behind the scenes.
I am trying to show you that certain decisions were taken without understanding what they were doing. But exactly that is where it was carrying us to. Okay, now let me ask you a question. We wanted young people to come up and rule the country. We had Ayodi Samuel, we had Kabralibi, and maybe Joshua C. That was another.
Tomando Jamjoya
was also young. How come these people could not have up to 5% of the votes? What is wrong? Is it that our youths didn't see youths managing these things? That is to tell you that something different is involved in what we talk.
Matumba is a youth.
They are youths. They are youth. So why did we not vote the youth if we really say that our problem was the old people?
When you say we, are you sure that some of us did not vote the youth?
When you say some of us, so the some of us will just be 5%.
Yeah.
It will just be 5%.
So you say why did they not? Because we as
it will just be 5%. because one of the things is that
Baye voted for his candidate. The candidate says it's from Matomba. He's a youth.
Okay, let's just say that a lot of youths didn't vote for the young people. It means that their problem was different. Okay, now come to this electoral kind of a thing. If you discover it was mostly Anglophones that took the front line of all the disagreements and the agreements. It's mostly Anglophones, meaning that there are a lot of things that have gone out, energies that we did not calculate the consequences of them. Why did we do what we did? Did we also know that diplomatically he has something to say against us? We should be able to count those costs. That is why I said that don't get emotional with these things. Don't get emotional, because at the end of the day we'll just turn and be hating ourselves and killing ourselves and then kidnapping, hijacking people and this and the others. People will be hiding behind other things and attacking people for nothing, because we are not asking strong questions to certain things. We want the truth. Let us verify the real truth. What is happening? A man that has gentleman agreement, a man that people have given the highest order of the king of kings, the fund of funds and everything. And then we get up, we think that it is with left hand. We'll just come and pull out the fund of fund and the chief of chiefs.
So
but
you have not answered my question.
What your question,
my question was if you had that you have done your you have answered that part. No excuse. You have
never made him.
No, why can you say that?
They did. No, they did. Let me
we had chief of chiefs.
Amazing chief of chiefs. Let me land, please.
Yes,
please. You come. You are coming in just 1 minute. Now you have answered the other question. Yes. I asked the issue about the chiefs. You brought up the issue about journalists.
Yes.
And now, in all fairness, do you think that the chiefs' involvement in politics directly was correct?
It stems from colonialism.
You have not answered my question.
That's what I'm trying to say now. It was correct because it has been the culture for a very long time.
Colonialism, were there partisan politics?
No.
Colonialism, it was the chief that was governing.
Yeah, there was there partisan politics. In the British Indirect Rule, written by Lord Lugar in 1922, which was used a tropical mandate for British West Africa.
Yes.
But we look at it, was there a partisan politics? Did we say we are UPC party, like the case of West Cameroon, when he was still operating in the colonial? There was no partisan. We are looking at the modern day democracy.
How did the British control its territories?
The British did not control it through political parties.
It controlled through what? The Eastern Regional Crisis and all the others came from there.
That Eastern Regional Crisis of Ioita and Namjaziki, which led to which led to the movement away from Anglophones from the West when Anglophone left the Eastern Regional Crisis House of Assembly Enugu. The issue at that time, they were partisan politics, and at that time the chiefs were not the one ruling because the political parties had been introduced. But we are talking about the issue about the chiefs. The political parties were not operating.
After the British granted a quasi-regional
good. No, but at that time the chiefs stopped ruling. The chief stopped ruling, and an administrative structure was set, and a formal political structure came into place.
So people were already used to politics. And so that is difficult to run.
The chiefs took the backstage. The chiefs took the backstage. That's why I want us to have this clear understanding, because we cannot say the way you index journalists, whom they are playing their role, but now the chiefs, because now many are saying that the chiefs, the Anglophone crisis. Many are saying that the chief's position to say that the head of state was fund of funds should be the fund of funds chief of chief is to them is wrong, because in a village you have maybe a quarter head is supporting this party, this other one is supporting this party. Now a chief is supposed to be a uniter of. Yeah, the chief has a right to vote for a particular political party.
But he has the final say. The chief has the final.
Is that not what has desecrated and removed the people? There's a bit of disconnect now in our villages from what the people have according to what the people are seeing. Look like Sokujo.
And look at these things. Look at these things. Some of these things, you and I would agree that some of these chiefs, their hands are tied.
Tied by who?
Just like what you said, journalists, their hands are tied.
I say ethically.
No, ethical is the ethics that we're talking about.
Yes. But how ethical as their hands tied to support a particular political party?
I want to ask you if you also know that some of these chiefs were carved out and given a village which they were not chiefs before.
They have come back now to.
And I want to tell you that some of them are under that particular decision. So you should understand that.
I will not argue if you are based on that perspective.
This is politics.
Which is going back to the road that politically chiefs are not supposed to take a stand.
But they are supposed to defend our culture.
Of course,
which we are saying that subsequently we are hoping that they can do that.
James, when you look at Doc is talking about chiefs being involved in
no, it was not his main issue.
I just want to it's not something
briefly
in regards to why the British actually used chief is because they came and met a structure, a political structure that was already in place by the chiefs.
Good.
And they saw that they could not dismantle this, and they decided to walk behind the scene using the chiefs. So we are not coming there.
We talk about 80% of Cameroon is not controlled by the British system.
It's not controlled
by the French system, which is not giving the chief.
This is where I'm coming. It becomes a problem of the different sectors of Cameroon, how we regard our chiefs in other sectors. The way the Litorama regards the chief is not the same way the Bamenda man regards the chief. There were different systems.
That is at first, not now.
At first, and even right up to today. And so even right up to today, a Northwest chief will not greet you with a hand, right? But the Southwest chief sit comfortably with you in a drinking parlor.
That's a difference in culture.
Let me just make your point, please. Let's not go into this chief issue.
It comes to play in all the
difference in culture.
Let's go to this topic because it may
It's
lead to
culture, yes,
some unnecessary sentiments.
Yes.
Some people may take you out of context.
No, it's not taking us out of context.
Some people may take you.
Yes.
I'm not saying take us. Some people may take what you are saying out of context.
Out of context,
Yes.
Okay, but but no matter because it's what we are teaching right up
So
to
now,
today.
we are having 3 minutes to go.
Yes.
What should be the way forward for our political parties?
We have said the way forward. The way forward is simple. The political parties, they should first of all know that if the grounds they are not favorable, we are wasting time. I mean, if I talk about the ground, it means we must first of all look at the electoral code. We must look at the electum, the body that is running the election, and we look at the Constitutional Council. If these 3 things, to me, that is the way forward. If they are put comfortable within all the political parties in Cameroon, and they see that their representation within the electum, within the Constitutional Council, and then the electoral code is in a way that everybody will be comfortable, I think we'll have better elections come 2032.
Okay. But what should be the way forward? We're out of time.
Well, we look at the matter from within. That is, we have to work more to see that we improve our habits. We train more people and then make people to believe that elections, we do not have only presidential elections, we have local elections. And so we have to do all to grow stronger and stronger at the local level. Then we will be able to, gain ground across the entire country, because our goal is, to ascertain that we come to a point where we affirm our identity, national unity and sovereignty, and we can only do that from local ground upwards.
Okay. Dr. Esingie, what is the way forward? Briefly, we're out of time.
Okay, we would accept that there is already a president in Cameroon, which work is already going on, and we suggest and we plead with each and everyone to come back on board and see how we can go forward. We have seen that the political parties made a lot of blunders and many mistakes that they made, which made us to be where we are today, which we are encouraging them that next time they still have 7 years to prepare, enough time to put things in place, correct the errors, put things in shape. Let's see how we can build this country together and put it as one, because we are tired of seeing people dying. I remember I came here last time and I warned that people should avoid some certain things because the country is not in a condition that anybody can just jump out and do what they want to do, and people did not listen, and now we are trying to mourn the dead. So we are trying to say that let us come back together and work in order to see the country go forward. Let the politicians tell their people the truth and forget about some of these things that they will be emotional at the end of the day.
Okay. One more thing, and Max says, I've learned a lot. I've learned that appeasement by CPJ means high turnout in war zone. Second, taking part in all election process is mandatory for all political parties. Thanks you for your great journalism. Thank you very much, Max. This program will be rebroadcasted at exactly 10:30 p.m. and every Sunday at exactly 12 to 1:55 p.m. is when we have the program House of Commons. It will be on our YouTube channel, BT Media Group, and if you want to be part of the program, you can join me on the numbers that were on your screen, and I'll put you in the WhatsApp group. When we have a topic for discussion, I will include your name there just in case you will take responsibility for what you will say. No matter the matter, what matters is your matter, and what should matter is that you should stay out of trouble. And happy Sunday to you, Mr. Nyam Robert and your wife Joan in the United States of America, and Agbo Charles in Canada. Until we meet again, stay out of trouble. Bye-bye.
I am Express Exchange, leader in money transfers within Cameroon for more than 15 years via my international partners MoneyGram, Western Union, Riyadh Transfer, World Remit, and others. You can send and receive money all over the world. I assist you in all your mobile money transactions and buying of communication credit. You are always welcome to my 300 branches for payment of your ENEO, electricity bills, and your university tuition fees, the payment of school fees and competitive examination fees for high schools and college via the Campus Money platform. Because your satisfaction is my priority, I assure you on ever-increasing and improved quality service, payments, availability of cash for your transactions. Express Exchange, the #1 in quality service in Cameroon.